Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Today's Apsona opportunity is going to be reviewing a multi-step report example that one of our friends shared earlier this weekend. We're excited that Sarah posed the question of how do I show a report of donors and their most likely to give month? As we were talking at a Salesforce Saturday event, her specific question was, I want to know the donors that are most likely to give because I assume that in my Salesforce instance, donors that have given year over year are usually giving around the same time and time frame. Let's say 15 of those years they gave in March, 10 of these years they gave in other months. What's the most often likely giving month? In these instances, I'll use a report mockup here to sort of explain what it is we're actually expecting to see on the output of the report. This will aid me greatly as I decide how and what Apsona features to use to build out my report. Now, for the first thing that I want to accomplish, I want to actually see a record in Salesforce that matches this condition. So in this instance, I'm looking at an opportunity record for Charles Buttery. I note that I know the close date of this is in October, so I would assume that would be an October close month. And I know that the primary contact field is marked with a lookup field to primary contact of Charles Buttery. So in this instance, Charles Buttery has given this donation, and I'm looking for other scenarios that meet this condition through these lookup fields. On my report outline, I'm going to assume that the first step is going to be a full name, the full name of Charles Buttery, maybe his contact ID. Usually that N starts with 003. And then the second step after this would be the actual close month or the close date month that is most likely, that is more abundant than any other close date month. So in this instance, Charles Buttery may have given in December, April, other months, but if October is the month that he's given the most in, I expect to see that here as an output on the report. You'll note that there are two steps that I've already noted here, that with our multi-step report feature, we're going to show you how to step and range that scenario. Here on my new multi-step report screen, I get to this by clicking on multi-step reports and then new. I'm going to give my report a quick title. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is choose the first object to work from. Now you noted from my report outline that I expect to see the contact information here. So my steps in Apsona are that I give the step a name, I choose the object that's related to it, and then I choose which fields in question I want to show on the screen. So in this instance, I do need the contact ID. That's an important field for a later step. And then I also want to get the full name. Now, one of the things that we also acknowledge is that there are other contacts in our instance that do not have opportunities. So we're probably going to add an exclusion filter here and say only show opportunities or contacts that have an opportunity underneath them. So since we're working from the primary contact lookup field, we only want to see opportunities where the opportunity ID exists. We call this an exception or an existent search. In this instance, I'm going to show all of the opportunities. Oh, you know what? Let me actually filter this just on the Charles Buttery record because I know that Mr. Charles Buttery is the only record I want to look at first. When I'm building out complex multi-step reports, I'll usually only use one particular record first and make sure that if I use that record and my conditions are built a certain way to actually meet that certain condition, then I know what the outcome is going to be. So in this instance, sorry for that quick snapshot. If I do a save and run here, I'm only going to get one record, Charles Buttery. And that, so far, is so good. I've got the contact ID, I've got Charles Buttery. Now my next two steps are from the opportunity object. So I want to see all opportunities that are related to Charles Buttery, and I want to see their close dates, and I want to see how many numbers there are, how many total opportunities there are. So going back to Apsona, I'm going to go to Edit, and we're going to add another step here. So in multi-step reports, we're going to assume that I can add ops to this report. The outcome here is that every opportunity that I want to pull in this second step should relate to that first step. That's how we're going to use multi-step reports today. So in this instance, I'm going to grab the opportunity ID. I'm going to grab maybe the close date as a field. And then I'm also going to grab a field called primary contact, which is a lookup field from opportunity up to contact. Now this is because this primary contact field should be a lookup from opportunity to contact and should allow me a linkage from this opportunity step up to that contact ID step. This is a key way of understanding how your data model works. And by joining these two records together and then saving and running, I'm able to see that from that existing report, I have two opportunities that are coming out of that existing report. If I go back to edit, look at these opportunities in question, show the retrieve fields, then I understand after doing a quick edit on the report, I realized that the filter terms that I'm using should be a different contact ID. After adjusting that, under save and run, I'm now able to see that every opportunity record listed underneath this primary contact is now showing on the report. You'll note here that I've got October 1, 2, 3, 4 times on this report. So what my goal is to be able to say, can I create a report that shows Charles Buttery most often close date month is October with 4 records in it. The way that I do that in Apsona is I go to the edit button, and then since I have my initial record here for Charles Buttery listed, I'm going to go to my opportunity and saying I want to just see an aggregate or a summary of this information. So we have a number of aggregate fields. We also call them metric fields here on the bottom of the screen. If I choose this number of records field, what it does is it says, show me how many records exist that meet the criteria for the other values on this row. So in this instance, there's one opportunity that fits that December 1st, December 30th, so forth and so on. You'll note here, though, that there's 2 opportunities that exist on October 18th. If I update this opportunity report and I remove the field that makes those 2 rows discrete or different and leave the close date field on there, I can hit save and run. And what I see is it auto groups that value and says there's actually 2 records under Charles Buttery which both have the same exact close date. This auto grouping function is the same function that you'd see in Salesforce reports. Salesforce reports allows you to group up to 3 values on a row on a tabular view. In Apsona, you can group as many values as you want, over and over and over again. The way that Apsona uses this functionality is that if you add fields to your report that are different and specific from each other, then it expands that report and creates more rows. If you reduce that and you use metric fields like this one, or some aggregate, max and min aggregate fields, Apsona will automatically collapse that report to fit your conditions. So in this instance, we're not interested in a particular close date. We want a close month. So I'm going to go to Edit, go to Opportunities, and instead of close date with that date value, we're going to get the close date month value. And Apsona gives you a number of handy features to be able to provide that. We're going to click on month only. We're going to remove close date. We're going to drag and drop. You can drag and drop fields on your retrieve field section. And then we're going to hit save and run one more time. And what I see is I have October at the top, November right here, and December right here. Now, my initial assumption is, why are these sorting this way? I think it's because close date has a native sorting function to follow your usual chronological order. I want to apply a different sort. I want to sort this by the number of records and say I want to start with the highest number of records first and then move downward in descending order. Hitting save and run now puts October at the top, December at the bottom, second, and November at the bottom. Now if I go to edit and opportunity, or the contact screen here, if I remove this filter for Charles Buttery, my intent is that if I hit save and run now, then for all records in my instance, I would see every contact record on screen, and I would see as many of them that reference the close date month that is the most populated or the most abundant in that donor's giving history. After a few moments while the report is running, you'll note that I am getting a set of results here. And for every donor, Marcy Perry here, her highest given month was April, September for this Charles Buttery, this was a duplicate, May for Kyle Leckie, and for Mana Hughes, looks like she's got 2, both August and December, Ashton Dunn, so forth and so on. And as I scroll down on the page, you'll see here's the Charles Buttery record I initially started with 4, and we're able to successfully see the highest likely close date month for each donor. Multi-step reports are powerful. They're a lot of fun. I hope you guys are having fun with them. If you have questions along the way, please do see us on our Apsona help page or join us in our Trailblazer community. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Cheers.